Is Chip Kelly on his way out the door after just 1 year at Ohio State? Let's talk about that. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football 24/7, 365 days a year, and we have a raucous and roaring community. If you like the show, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It's free. It costs you nothing. It's like a follow button on Twitter or X or Instagram or wherever it is that you like to follow socials and really help us build into a much better and robust and informed community. So think about it. And if you like the segments and you don't want to miss any, ring the bell so you don't miss any of the segments that we upload here. If you're a returning viewer and you are a subscriber, thank you so much. But if you're a returning viewer and you're not a subscriber, I'm going to ask you to check that button and hit it. We're going toward 131,000 subscribers to this community, and I'm going to give everybody the same question. I want you to answer in the comments below. Do you think Chip Kelly is going to coach offense at Ohio State in 2025? On Sunday, just as the AFC Championship game was kicking off, Jonathan Jones put out a report for CBS Sports where he does great work, claiming that Chip Kelly was being, targeted for the open Houston Texans offensive coordinator position and perhaps even the offensive coordinator position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or even the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chip Kelly, who has coached in the NFL, who was pretty good when he was there until he wasn't, and who has a tremendous amount of head coaching experience, period, and who took a step down to many when he decided he no longer wanted to be the head coach of UCLA to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. But it was very clear that this was a move that Ryan Day wanted to make because he made it with Bill O'Brien. He was prepared to hand not just the play calling privileges, but the offense over to a guy who had done some pretty good things for the New England Patriots and Alabama. But when Bill O'Brien decided he wanted to be the next head coach at Boston College, Chip Kelly got on the horn and said, hey, I'd be interested in that job. Ryan Day, who grew up underneath Chip Kelly, quite literally playing quarterback for him at New Hampshire, said, yeah, Chip, come on down. And you handed that man a really, really fast car. It's a lot of fun. He had Will Howard, he had Quinshon Judkins, he had Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and even an offensive line that when it wasn't at full strength was pretty damn good. And all he had to do was call plays for it. Didn't have to think about the head coaching part, didn't have to think so much about the recruiting part or the name, image, and likeness part or the donor part. He just got to coach ball. And in just getting to coach ball, first year, win a national championship at Ohio State, something he couldn't get done at the University of Oregon, which I think is important to stress here. So Chip Kelly has seen the mountaintop. He has won a national championship. Does he want to run it back at Ohio State? Is he happy with the situation, both on the field as well as off the field? Or does being able to coach C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans call to you? And I'm going to focus there because I don't think that DeMeco Ryans gets off of Bobby Slowick like he did if he doesn't think he can go get the next guy that he wants. And we already were getting energy that said Chip Kelly. And Chip Kelly matched with C.J. Stroud, and you're going to get guys back on that offense that we know are monsters, like Joe Mixon, like Nico Collins. I mean, Stephon Diggs going to be healthy. And I'm so excited about what that offense might be able to do just with those four guys. C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs. And if you're Chip Kelly, moving down to Houston ain't such a bad idea, dog. You get to wear your visor year-round over there. They don't know nothing about no snow. They don't know nothing about no cold. Cold in Houston be like the 40s. I mean, I'm sure it gets a little bit cold in that, but I remember it was snowing in New Orleans just last week, and people was going, yo, what y'all doing in the north about all this snow? And I got to see somebody get introduced to snow melt for the first time, and their eyes were just like glowing. They were like, wait, y'all just got this? It's like, really? As a man who keeps snow melt in his garage, it ain't a problem you want. It ain't a problem you want. You don't want to have to know how to use snow melt. You don't want to know how to shovel your driveway with ice. You don't want to have to know how to take care of your vehicles and your home in this intense cold. And it has been intensely cold over here in Oklahoma the last month, dog. I'm here to tell you. And if you are feeling some kind of way about that, and you Chip Kelly in Columbus, maybe you do want to change the scenery. In which case, many Ohio State fans is, we will buy you heaters, dog. We will make sure that we put up some sort of curtain to make you think that it's summer full time. Whatever we got to do, because we're trying to keep the band together. I think that Ryan Day hasn't necessarily hired a defense coordinator because he might be working on his mans. He might be working on whether or not he can keep Chip Kelly in his spot, knowing that you probably got the guy that you want to promote in Mackie area up on staff. It comes to that. Maybe you're going to take some more interviews, but also Ryan Day is not a guy that couldn't go back to play calling if he needed to. Not unlike, I think, what Brent Venables might end up having to do at a place like Oklahoma. I find it interesting that college football still deals with this from the NFL, that so many coaches have decided they don't want to coach college, not because they don't like college ball, but because of all the headaches, the extemporaneous things that have to happen. For instance, Jeff Hafley was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State and then was the head coach at Boston College, and he left that job to be the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Al Golden leaves Notre Dame, where he coached that team to a national championship, to be defense coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals. On it goes. Recruiting is hard. Recruiting is a young man's game. It's always been a young man's game, and it is taken on a full-time basis even before name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal. Now, you just got to be recruiting full-time. Guys that are on your roster, you got to re-recruit. It's a headache. It's hard. It's tough. It's not for the faint of heart. You also have to deal with donors. You also have to go on caravan runs. You have to say the nice things to the nice people, and you have to be on 24/7, 365. I understand if that can wear you down, and as football coaches are fond of saying, they just want to coach ball. Yeah, dog, I would just like to do this show. I would just like to talk into this microphone. But I don't get to do that. And you know what? Your wife don't get to do that. Only you get to do that. So act like that. You know what I'm saying? I always say that football coaches should be the best at what they do because they ain't got but one job. They don't pay the mortgage. They don't pick up kids from school. They don't know who owns the mortgage to their home. They don't know who pays the utilities. I'll bet you they couldn't even tell you the price of a gallon of milk because they don't need to know. They don't even know. Football coach, they don't even have to lay out his clothes, dog. He wearing the same thing, and he going to go to the same place, and he's going to go through the same routine. Everything else around him is going to get taken care of. That's just what it is. Like, Joe Posnanski wrote a really great column about Bill Snyder years ago, and it was built around this very real image of Bill Snyder's car being in his parking space basically year-round. He just doesn't move because he sleeps at the office. He doesn't sleep. He schemes. And I'm thinking, you know, somebody got to keep them lights on. Somebody got to play secretary for him and be that job full-time. Somebody's got to know what Coach Snyder wants to eat, how he wants to eat it. Somebody's got to make the travel arrangements. Like, there's so many things that get taken care of for football coaches at every level, I might add, at every level, that you just don't have to worry about if you are, you know, them. But if you were one of us, yeah, dog, I got to know who owns my mortgage. I got to know when the light bill needs to get paid. I got to show up to work on time, and I have to be able to go pick up people from school if the time comes. Be like, hey, I got a doctor's appointment, or I got to stay home because the kid is sick. That ain't nothing football coaches got to do. I understand if you can make your life a little bit easier, you might do that, because at this point, Chip Kelly's made enough money to be fine. He doesn't have to coach ball at all. He wants to. And that's where a lot of these coaches are right now. I think in as far as the Houston Texans are concerned, you know what you'd be getting, right? You're going to get the guy that puts together these really cool schemes, who has this background of raising kids up and really getting his job the hard way. And C.J. Stroud's one of the best young players in this league. Like, that's a great pairing if you're D'Amico Ryans. And D'Amico Ryans continues to get to be the dude being like, I run the defense, which probably should be more of what he does in the first place, and you're able to hand this thing to Chip Kelly. I like the move if it happens, but if it doesn't, I don't mind him staying at Ohio State either. I think he did a great job. Last thing on that is neither Jim Knowles nor Chip Kelly was a Broyles Award finalist, and I think I need to tell y'all this is because it's rank voting, but also I had Jim Knowles on my list of top defense coordinators in the country. I got outvoted. But it'd be like the Oscars, so it's a consensus. You rank them 1 through 5, and usually it ain't the person that you rank number 1 that gets all the votes. It's usually the person that ranks 2 or 3. And if you don't make that cut, there's something to that. Maybe there's a reason to look at this, but I did think it was kind of odd that Jim Knowles basically ran over a Broyles Award finalist in Al Golden, a Broyles Award finalist in Pete Kwiatkowski, that Chip Kelly was able to do the same thing. We got to work on it. But if you were upset about your guys and why they didn't get awards,